joined by Dr. Alan Mendoza, founder and, of course, Executive Director of the Henry Jackson Society, who conducted the poll. And I'm joined by Mohammed Amin, former chairman of the Conservative Muslim Forum. Alan, you commissioned this poll. Were you surprised by the results?
In some senses, yes. In some senses, no. I mean, clearly, what we ought to be looking at is the totality of what we're seeing. And the totality of what we're seeing is that there is clearly an extremism problem within this subset of people in the UK. It's writ large across the board. It is, question after question after question. It is quite different to the control poll of the general population. And even if you can quibble about certain bits and say, well, people didn't know what they were answering, the fact is that overall, it's showing a much larger level of extremism amongst the British Muslim communities than the general population.
Mohammed is, as he always does, using very moderate language, never wanting to inflame any debate, but it's much worse than discouraging, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I sympathise with Mohammed's point of view. He would not agree with these views quite clearly, and I'm sure he's as struggling to understand it as much as everyone else. But it is worrying. It's deeply worrying that there are some people who are not like Mohammed, who have a very different viewpoint quite clearly. And what's particularly worrying, Nigel, is if you dissect the results on almost every different point, the youngest cohort is much more radical than others, and perhaps that's a generalised societal problem, but it's a large cohort, obviously, given the way the population pyramid is working. And the other fascinating and terrifying thing is that graduates are much more radical than non-graduates. So it seems that having a university education is no bar, and in fact, in some ways, appears to be a gateway to more radical views.
Well, I was a Trotskyist at 20.
Yeah, I mean, that is a fair point. Yeah. A lot of people have opinions at university that change, but I also think Alan's point here really is these figures are across the board, and that's what makes them very, very surprising. Yes, there's a preponderance in youth, but it does go right through the ages, doesn't it?
Correct. And when we say graduates, we don't mean necessarily people who are 21. We mean anyone who's graduated from university at any given point. So that could be, someone in their 70s now.
I'm beginning to understand, folks, why the police just stand there and do nothing. I'm beginning to understand why the police are terrified. They clearly understand the sheer size and scale of the problem. But the really big question to both of you is, what do we do now?
Well, that is the question, and I think this is a challenge of integration policy in this country. It is certainly true that many of Britain's Muslims have integrated beautifully and are kind of playing valuable roles in society. But it is quite clear from this and other polls, this is not the only poll in recent years that's shown this.
But it's the starkest.
It is the starkest, which tells you that things may have gotten worse, which tells you integration policy may not be working in the way intended. So what has to happen straight away, in my view, is the government dusts off all those reviews that have been gathering kind of dust on the shelves, the Casey review, the Khan review, the Shawcross review, and implement them straight away and go, we've had studies into this problem, we understand what the issues are, how we can move this forward, let's get on and actually do it rather than talking about it.
Alan, I've been told many, many times and seen myself that there are areas in the north of England where communities that have come from Pakistan have not advanced very well. Is that part of this problem?
Well, I think part of the problem is just this lack of integration in those places. So someone like Ed Hussein wrote about this in a book where he went around the country essentially pointing out to what he termed a monoculture, which he did mean a Pakistani monoculture, which he of course understands well coming from a similar background, which has taken over from the British culture. So from his perspective, and I think Mohammed's saying the same thing here, it's about, we've got to break down that area. And that is what things like the Casey Review wanted to do. It suggested you've got to break areas down so that people do have access to other people in this country and understand they are not islands and that they are part of a broader whole.